Hello, creatures of the internet. I thought I'd try something a little different this week. Writing those blog posts for the Equilibrium site is a thankless pain in the ass, so I thought I would just record myself talking for a little while and hope that yields something. I'm told that this kind of thing is important for indie developers, learning how to talk about what they're doing. So that's the point of the blog, and that's the point of this vlog. Alright, so what I'm currently working on in the game is taking the 30 levels that we built for what we're calling Pass 1 in the game, and adapting the first third of that to a new style standard as a demo. So the old build of the game, which I think I've shown a lot of videos of over the weeks. The levels were built in this really tight, sort of cramped, blocky way. You can see lots of hard edges. And the cubes that the environment's built of are kind of obvious. People complained about that when they played it because it doesn't look too hard to navigate if you're me, because I play this game way too much. But if you're new to the control scheme, you end up getting caught on corners in the environment. Like people would try to climb over objects and just kind of get stuck for a while, and that's no fun. We don't want that at all. So that was a big consideration in the second pass on these levels. So if you compare that to Pass 2, we have a much better logo that Nick made, first of all, but all the environments are going to be a lot bigger in this version of the game. They're spacious enough that you have room to jump around, and it's nice. It kind of highlights that leap mechanic for the game a little better. And there's a lot less, or a lot fewer obstacles to get stuck on, and that is good. Also, if you have energy, flying around in these spaces feels really free and a lot of fun. So I'm pretty happy with the way this is feeling. Also, an ancillary benefit to having these large levels is that the game in total, when I would kind of race through it before, all 30 levels was it's only an hour-long game or so, but that time is stretching out a lot more now because the spaces are bigger and it takes players a long time to move through it. So suddenly we have a much longer game, which is good, because people want to spend a lot of time with the game. So what we're working on right now, I said 30 levels, but we're just taking the first 10 or so levels, and we're going to turn those into a demo, which we'll probably release for free, just to try and gather feedback about the game and try and generate some interest in the game. But we're going to release a much more polished version of those 30 levels the first 10 levels. So what we're doing is working on ways of making them more interesting. Overall, all the levels are getting bigger, like I just showed, but also we're going to go through and make each level pretty unique. So in the past, and Pass 1 especially, it was really clear that all of the levels were built out of the same blocks, and they were just sort of rearrangements of those blocks, and that's not all that interesting. There's a story we're telling with dialogue in the game, but we also want to have this sort of background story for people that are paying attention to the environments. We want to make sure that the environments are unique and memorable. Even all of the environments within the wasteland are going to have a similar set of visual elements, but each one should stand out on its own. So, for example, we're thinking of set pieces. You saw the broken pipe in the level I was just playing. Let's see, I'll go back to that. There's okay, so this pipe broke at some point, and then the idea is that the synths who were dumping waste here cinched it off after that, so it no longer it's no longer dumping slime down, but I guess they didn't want anything to crawl back up the broken pipe, so they cinched that off. Yeah, I'm recording a video. No worries. And so we want to have set pieces like that throughout all of these levels, and we want to have secret creatures and unique creatures that are just one-time life forms that only show up in a given level. And then there's stuff like backstories to these levels. So that pipe got cinched off. That's pretty minor, but over the next few levels, there's going to be this story about these prospector characters that get in over their heads, so you're seeing the aftermath of their last stand. So we're also trying to vary the challenge rating of the levels. We're using this sort of arbitrary like a 1 through 10 challenge number right now, but we'll have to watch people play the game and see how long they get stuck in certain areas and make sure that it's not frustrating in a bad way, but that there's peaks to the challenge and kind of like a gradual incline in the challenge, but also areas where it drops off again, and this goes back to challenge rating 1. So areas that just let you explore and poke around, and some variety there. We also want to add more monsters and things. Right now, most of the obstacles where players gets held up for any period of time are kind of just environmental challenges. Like right here, these blue things are or purple, I guess. Those are chitons, where you try and jump on them and you can't stick to them. So it's just a simple environmental obstacle. We have barnacles that wave around, and if you touch them, you die, get reset. So there's a lot of obstacles, puzzles just about jumping over things and how to navigate through the space. There's these barriers that you can figure out ways of taking out. So a lot of exploration and sort of environmental puzzles right now, but we want to have sort of action. We want to have creatures that you run away from, and we're working on building those right now, and then we'll try and either socket those into these existing levels or insert some levels to showcase them a little better. But either way, our main priority right now is just finishing the first 10 levels to a standard that looks a little more final, and then we'll release that and see what people think, and then hopefully use that to gather some interest and possibly funding going forward. But the overall game is still going to be a 3-act story with 3 different environment kits. So the demo is just going to be in the wasteland, but then we're doing slums and labs after that. And we have ideas for Ectolibrium stories beyond the first 3 acts, but I don't know. We'll see if we get to those, or how these first ones are received. So let's see. That's about it. A lot to think about, but I hope it yields something fun, and I hope this video is fun to watch. It's the first time doing something like this, so that might become the new standard. I don't like writing the blog entries, so we'll see. All right, bye.